Well, good morning. Up early this morning, about 5 o'clock. Just waited for a bit of daylight. I didn't remember to put a track in here when I came in. I was flying the drone and doing other things, and I forgot to put a track in. So what I'm doing is using offline maps. I've plotted a course out. You've got to be careful this time of the day because there's a lot of bombies around on the way out, so you don't want to get out of shape. So I've put a track in on offline maps, and I'll be following that out this morning. But best thing to do is when you come in, put a track in, and then when you leave early, you can follow your track out. It should keep you in good shape. Anyway, let's get organised to go. Well, we don't wear skimpy bikinis. Hell, it frightens me when I take my shirt off. There's definitely no one pregnant here. This is motor sailing for old dudes. We do live on a boat and we do cruise extensively along the Australian coast. Join us and visit some great destinations. Learn how to look after a boat and live off grid. It might even get you enthused to do the same thing. Hey, stay out there till you can't. Not much detail on lighthouse charts, but if I go to online maps, it's got plenty of detail there. You can see where the bombies are, so I've plotted a course around them. A lot of tide running in, so we're slow, but we've got good control over the boat. It's goodbye Lady Musgrave, and that's probably the last bit of coral we'll see for quite some time. It's the start of a new year and the start of a new playlist. I'm going to call this playlist From Barrier Reef to Button Grass. So I'll miss this area because it is really lovely. I love GKI, I love Mussy of course, and the weather up here, but we're going to head down to Tassie and have a really good look around Tassie over the winter. We've got a pretty long way to go, I think about 2,000 nautical mile down to Tassie, so a bit of travelling to do. First thing I've got to do though is get to Bundaberg today and get my anchor chain galvanised. So we'll go through that process, and once that's done we'll be poking a bit further south. Not as nice a day as it was yesterday, bit of swell on now, but we're doing okay, and I'm going to get the sail out in a minute and hopefully pick up a bit off this wind. Well, the wind's not as strong as what the forecast was for last night, which is probably better for conditions, but not all that good for sailing. But we'll get the sail out and use a bit of it, and hopefully it might come up a little bit later. But we'll take a bit off this anyway. We're doing 5.6, 5.7 now. Our ETA is about 1500. So we've got about 9 hours to travel. Well, how much difference a little bit of breeze makes. Wind's up to about probably 15 now. So the sail's doing a great job. We're skipping along at about 6.5, 7 knots. So instead of getting to Bundaberg at about 3:30 this afternoon when I left the lagoon, we'll be there about 1:30. Saves fuel, saves time. All the lines set up before I get into the river, so I've got the bow line, the fender at the front, forward and a aft spring and another fender, another fender, and another fender right at the stern and a stern line. So all set up, ready to grab when I jump on the dock. When you're on the boat by yourself and you're doing it on your own, it's all about being prepared. I'm still probably an hour out of Bundy, but it's not too bad out here. I can move around on the boat pretty easily, so I thought I might as well get all this stuff out. I've got the fenders set up and just pulled them inboard, got all the ropes set. So when I get in there, it's just a matter of chucking the fenders over and getting into the dock and tying up. And if you don't do it that way, you get into the river and you've got to navigate and you've got marks to get on, so you're sort of looking out here at sea, there's nothing to run into really, so it's good to get it done when you're out away from everything else. And now I'm set up, ready to go, so when I get in, it's just a matter of tying the boat up. Anyway, another half hour I think, and we'll be on the leads into Bundy. Fantastic. Been a good little day in the end, like the breeze is hooked in a bit now, so we're getting along at, I think we're pushing a fair bit of tide, but we're getting along at 5.6, 6 knots, and the odd 6.5. But yeah, I think the tide's running out, and it looks like there's a lot of water going that way. Been a pretty good little motor sail down. The water's getting very dirty now. It's lost its blue colour, and I think that's all the mud coming out of the Burnett River. They've had a lot of rain in Bundy over the last couple of weeks, and I think there's a lot of water coming down from upstream, so we've lost our blue ocean. But anyway, it'll probably be a lot browner once we get in the river. I'm going to go in and I'll get a bit of fuel first. I'll fill up, and then once I've done that, I'll go and pick my pen up. That means I'm ready to go when I've got the anchor chain back on the boat. Push a bit of tide coming in here. The tide's pretty well on the way out, so we're going to push a knot or two, I think, getting up the river. So it's a little bit ordinary. We're pushing plenty of tide. We're doing 3 knots at the moment, so a lot of tide running out. And that'll be floodwater as well, so probably not a great time to be entering, but we'll make it up there in another half hour or so. Not very far up to the marina at least. I'll log off with VMR in a minute and we'll get in underneath the seawall in front of us there, and it should be a lot more comfortable. When you get these really hot days here, you usually get a thunderstorm at night, so just a matter of battening down and hoping the best. I feel pretty good in the marina. We're well tied up, so it won't worry us. If I was on anchor, other things I might do. But there's a big system heading down the coast. It's a bit cyclonic. It's not named as a cyclone, but it's a very deep low, and it's going to get here early in February. So that's about a week and a bit away. So what I'm going to do, I'll stay here till Saturday, then I'm going to run down to the Burrum. I'll probably stay there for 3 or 4 days maybe, and then I'm going to head down the Sandy Strait. I don't really want to be in a river. This thing's going to bring a lot of rain with it, I imagine. The forecast is for about 150 mils, and in rivers you sometimes get floodwater coming down, and it makes things a little bit hard to deal with. So if I get up in the Sandy Strait somewhere, you'll still get all the rain. The wind will be offshore where I'm thinking about going, and yeah, we should be all right. But anyway, we'll show you what we do for that big low that's going to give us a bit of a belting in a few weeks' time. Anyhow, we'll just hang on and see what this thunderstorm does. It might peter out to nothing, but you just never know with the storm. I'm just trying to get some dinner cooked before this comes in. Looks a bit ominous. Well, here in the marina at Bundaberg, and why we're here is to take my anchor chain out and have it re-galvanised. So I'll take you through the process here in Bundy. So here's the tools I'm going to need. A set of Allen keys. I think that one there, I think it's about a 3 or 4 mil. Set of side cutters, something with a small shank on it. I'm using a Phillips head screwdriver, just something under a shackle. A pair of pointy nose pliers might be handy, a pair of gloves. First thing I had to do was empty the chain locker, so all my standby anchor and gear for the sea anchor has been taken out. And that's given me access to the chain, and I've uncoupled the chain from the boat, so I've taken that off its solid fixing. Now all that chain's got to come out and go away to be re-galled. You can see down here what I've done with, when I've top and tailed my chain, I've put the used chain into a plastic bag and I've coated that with Lanatec. And I do that because if you don't, it'll get flaky rust on it, and then it's really hard for them to re-galvanise it. The first thing I'll do is just cut the mousings on the shackles. Beautiful. If you're sending your anchor chain to be galvanised, to take any stainless steel off it at all. So this swivel's all stainless, it's got to come off. Now I'm going to get the anchor galvanised as well. It's a bit pointless doing the chain and not doing the anchor. It doesn't cost that much extra. And I'm going to take this stainless steel shackle and the swivel off the anchor. Yeah, the only thing I need, other thing I need to take off, is this stainless steel nut and bolt. Why I've got that here on this Sarker anchor, you can see the Sarker's got a slotted shank. And the idea of that is that if you're anchored in coral, that shackle will slide down the shank if you get the anchor stuck and pull the anchor out backwards. That's all great, but it has let go, just wind against tide conditions, it let go 2 or 3 times and I found myself adrift with the anchor being pulled up the wrong way. So I'll put that bolt in there to stop that happening. I'd rather deal with it if it's jammed on something another way than have it releasing in the middle of the night and me not knowing it. So I'll take that stainless bolt out as well. You can see how that works with the slot in the shank. You're anchored. If you get caught in coral, if the tip of the anchor's caught in a bit of coral or under a rock or something like that, you can drive your boat up over the anchor and it'll pull that shackle forward, and then when you lift it, it'll pull the anchor up upside down. Now it's a great system. The problem with it is it has let me down a couple of times. Wind against tide, the boat is pulled up over the anchor and pulled the chain up there, and of course once you're pulling off there, it pulls the anchor out and the anchor has got no way of resetting. It won't reset itself. So what I do, I leave it up that end and I've got a nut and a bolt that I put through the shank and a couple of washers. So I put that through the slot on the shank, bolt it up, and that stops the shackle from coming forward. The only negative thing I've got about these Sarker anchors, they are great anchors. Once you put them down and get them into the sand and put enough chain out, they just keep on going down. But the self-trip thing, or the thing for tripping them, can let you down when you don't want it to. So I've got rid of it on mine. Okay, we better get this chain off the boat now. I use coloured cable ties to mark my chain, and they have to be cut off before it goes to be galvanised. That's the end of it. It's 60 metres of 8mm tested chain. That's ready to go off for the galvanising now. glad it's not 10 mil.
Yeah.
My old boss comes down in his ute and we load the chain up and take it to the galvanising works. Thank you so much, Dave.
Where do we go?
I think just around there. I don't know. We'll show you the process for re-galvanising your anchor chain. Then we get it back, mark it up and get it back on the boat. With that job done, it's time to head for Burham Heads. But the forecast isn't what they promised and we end up in some pretty rough weather, and I'll show you how to use a sea anchor to give yourself some rest. See you next week, dudes.